Right, good afternoon everybody. How are we all doing? So, today I'm going to share a bit of an idea that I've been thinking about just recently. As many of you know, if you're kind of handmade premium cigar smokers, you'll know that long filler cigars are blended, so you get a variety of flavours as you work your way through the cigar. The whole idea is that the cigar can last quite a while, and if the flavour stays too consistent all the way through the smoke, it kind of gets a bit boring, a bit dull. And where's the enjoyment in that? You can progress it so it starts off milder, creamier, then progressively gets stronger as you finish towards the end. Modern cigars don't tend to do that quite so much anymore. Flavours stay fairly consistent, there's a little bit of change in there, but nowhere near what you get in kind of like good old world Havana cigars and things like that. Machine made cigars were a little bit different because the tobacco's all sliced up, mixed up, and then basically rolled. So it's a little bit more like a pipe tobacco. I mean, all pipe tobaccos are blended, the flavours are there to kind of carry you through the bowl sort of thing. You get a progression in flavour, but nowhere near to kind of the complexity and almost the journey that you do with a cigar. But can you do it with a pipe tobacco? Of course, the main problem is pipe tobaccos are mixed. You just take it out of the pouch and put it in, you get your flake, you rub it down, but all those tobaccos are mixed before they're pressed into the flake. And basically you're getting a mixture. No matter how you prepare it, no matter what, you're always going to get a mixture. And I've been toying with the idea of, what if you kind of layered the tobaccos into the bowl? So you start off with a lovely light, kind of almost a Virginia and Oriental mixture. No Latakia in there to start off with. Then you can basically hit a little bit of Kentucky, and Latakia. Then as you get down to the bottom, you've pretty much lost all the lighter notes and you're just on a full strong dark blend. Obviously you can do this by just whisking things up yourself, but it'd be good if there was a way we could kind of conceal it into a canister. So you buy it, it's a preloaded plug, you just have a pipe that's got a specific size aperture and depth. You just lock your plug in, tear the top off, light, smoke, and you get a beautiful journey through the bowl. So basically I'm just going to go through an experiment I'm having, and I'm going to try and do something and see if I can make an interesting dynamic journey through a pipe. It's probably going to be revolting because I'm not going to have the chance to try all these combinations first. So what I've got here, hopefully you can see that without me spilling any of it, is a selection of tobaccos. So just here I have a mixed Virginia. It's kind of golden dark and fire cured Virginias. Here's an Izmir Samson Oriental blend. This is a bit of a Kentucky. Here we have some Latakia, and here a nice big helping of Perique. So, how to start? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reposition the camera, and I'm going to show you my process of how I'm going to attempt to do this, and we'll see what happens. So I'll see you in a moment. So I'm back. So obviously first things first, we need to do the base of the bowl. So for that I'm going to use a little bit of Kentucky, a decent measure of Perique, almost equal parts, a nice bit of Latakia, some Virginia to help with the combustion, and a bit of Turkish for the creaminess. So I'm going to mix this up just here. Hopefully you can see that just about on the edge of the screen. So I don't have my tripod, so I'm trying to kind of improvise by balancing the camera on the top of a glass. So this will do for the base. That's probably more than what I need for the base, so I'll just take a piece of that. Obviously don't forget, in the bottom of the bowl you've actually got some wastage, so I'm just going to put all that in and get that down there. So that gives me my nice full-bodied, full-flavoured end to the pipe. So next I want to tone it down just a little bit. So this bit will still take some Kentucky, some of the Latakia, only a small amount of Perique this time, more of the Virginia, and a little bit more of the Turkish. I'll just mix all this up as well. Got no idea how this is going to come out. So I haven't taken any measurements of ratios or anything. This is just completely eyeballing it. I think my hopes of not making a mess of all this and being able to put some of it back into the jars isn't going to work. So, right, so that gives me the build up to the end. So I'm going to class this as, well, It's the third quarter basically. So the middle run. So this is going to be a lot more Turkish and Virginia heavy. But what I'm going to do is the bit of tobacco that I had left here, I'm going to mix this in with it as well. So I've still got that taste, but I'm going to have a little bit more of a mellow build up. So every time we mix in this, I'm diluting the ratio of Virginia, Perique and Kentucky, and I'm increasing the amount of Virginias and Orientals that I've got in here. So I think that will do me for the second, and then for the primer on the top, just pure Virginia and Orientals. And here we have it, a pure golden top. So I'm just going to swing back round and we'll see what it's like. Let's try this. Creamy, sweet. Very, very, very creamy. The Turkish Izmir and Samson blend that I use in this is beautiful. It's not very sour. It's just very, very creamy. And mixed with that nice Virginia, it gives me a good start. So I'm going to smoke my way through this with a couple of periodic updates of where I'm getting to and if it's distinctly noticeable when you get to your points. And I shall be back later. I hope this works. Speak to you in a moment. Right, I'm back. And it actually is working so far. I've just hit the point where the Virginia and Turkish, the Orientals kind of have stopped being just together, and I'm hitting bits of Kentucky now. I'm getting the kind of smokiness from the Latakia, and so far so good. There's progression there. You've still got the creamy sweetness from the Virginias, but it's starting to get a little bit more earthy, a little bit bolder, and a lot heavier. Obviously, it's the Kentucky, and I don't think I've burnt too much Latakia yet. I've had a few wisps of a kind of that char-grilled smokiness opposed to the earthy, leathery smokiness of the Kentucky. So let's see what happens next. So, wow, I've definitely hit the middle run. I've just hit some Perique, and it's instinctively noticeable. It's suddenly got that sharp, acidic kind of bite. It's just come out of nowhere. There's more Latakia in there, so it's a lot more smoky. The kind of creaminess is there, but it's kind of an acidic creaminess. It's creamy, but it runs along the lines of the kind of coats your mouth with the a slight tang that's not quite acidic. There's still the acidic from the Perique there, but Jesus. The one thing I've picked up so far is doing them in these small little bunches to have sort of 4 variations through the bowl. I don't think that's the way to go. The kind of the jump from the Perique is just so sharp and so out of nowhere. Wow, it kind of takes you back a little bit. So just going to see if now we've got all the constituent parts in there, if this is a little bit more of a gradual progression towards what I'm anticipating to be an extremely strong and powerful finish. The amount of Kentucky and Perique that's sat down there at the bottom. The Latakia is nothing much on its own, but the Perique and Kentucky mixed together. Those of you who smoked my Bayou blend before, I anticipate this at the end to be Bayou blend on steroids and then some. But anyway, I will be back again in a moment. Now, as you can probably guess, I'm now past the halfway point in the bowl, which means I'm pretty much into the third quarter. Jesus, it is strong, as you'd expect. My head is swimming. But a comment which I haven't said in a long time. Doesn't matter, because I quite like Lady N. Lady N is my friend. Lady N is pretty much the reason I started smoking in the first place. I love the nicotine buzz, the kind of fuzzy lightheadedness. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. But anyway, I'm still not finished yet. but I'm in need of a little bit of bulk here. I need to run a pipe cleaner down and give it a bit of a tamp. So, peppery. Just a quick update on the taste. It's like a slightly sweetened, it's kind of, that's the only real bit from the Latakia I can pick out. There is that kind of almost sweet smokiness, but then there's this big dominating leathery smokiness from the Kentucky, and then this acidic, very acidic kind of sharpness from the Perique. It is intense. It is extremely intense. I taste nothing from the Virginias, nothing from the Orientals. If anything, the only thing they're doing is keeping this burning. But wow, if you want a smoke to knock your socks off, just mix basically what I did in the first section of the filling of this pipe, because God, that is good. So anyway, I'm gonna have a quick readjustment with the pipe. We're at that point, and I shall be back to let you know how it finishes, and to give you more of an overall summary, even though I've pretty much already said it. But anyway, I'll be back in. Right, so as you could probably tell, I'm still smoking it, and God, right, I can't smoke anymore. I'm feeling a bit chesty, but man, Jesus, is that a strong, sour, earthy, messy end. Whew. So, sorry, 1 second. That's a little bit better. So, the experiment, it works. I think I did a little bit too much of an extreme. At the start, it was just some kind of like golden mixed Virginias with a bit of Turkish, Oriental, and Izmir and Samson. God, I'm tripping over my words now. Creamy, sweet, beautiful start. Then what I led it into with the Kentucky, a little bit of tiny amount of Perique and Latakia. That kind of worked. The jump was a little bit too much, and then at the end it was just ridiculous. Like, in hindsight, not even in hindsight, in common sense, it's going to be very, very strong, very, very bitter, and I said strong, but strong isn't quite the word. I say my head is absolutely spinning. I don't really want to have to stand up in the next couple of minutes, but it works. Kind of as the Kentucky started coming in, you started getting a little bit more smokiness, a slight wisp of the Latakia every so often, and in the end I say it went too far. But had I have what my midsection, sort of, that should have been more towards the end, and I should have kind of just stretched it out a little bit, maybe sliced up some of the Virginia, some of the Latakia and some of the Perique, made it into smaller amounts, but still did it in a progression of 4 fills, but made the transition between quite more distinct and quite different. But for a concept, it's nice. This isn't a overly huge bowl, which you can see from the size of my hand. Not that that means anything, or there we go, to the size of a Bic lighter. It's a reasonable sized pipe, and it's a pretty good smoke time. I mean, I've been smoking this for, I'd say, a good 35-40 minutes, but a much bigger bowl, maybe say almost a magnum, an hour and a half smoke. If you did something like this in an hour and a half smoke, wow, it'd compete with a cigar, and it's a good starting point. So I am going to experiment with this a little bit more. I'm also going to try and see if I can't do something with some cigarette papers. Make kind of almost a cube, kind of an open topped cube that I can just sprinkle the tobacco down into. Maybe if I make it considerably taller than the pipe, you can still then tamp it down, so I don't have to tamp it in the paper and risk ripping it, but you can tamp it down into the pipe. I don't know, I'm going to have a mess around with this, so yeah, somewhere to go with this now. Brilliant. So thanks for watching this kind of little experiment as I go sort of thing. Excuse my brain fart that's happening at the moment. That's Lady N dancing round in there. and she's having a good time, and I don't mind one bit. So, until later folks, I shall see you soon. Take care, good bait.